Welcome. We are live. This is our first actual live podcast, so I'm excited to be here today. We have Erik of Safe and Soft Carpet Cleaning. How you doing today, Erik?
Good, Alistair. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, what we're going to do today is kind of talk about Erik's business. Erik has a very successful business. We met each other at a carpet cleaning convention called Encapalooza. And so we'll talk a little bit about that too. But actually, before I get started, what I wanted to do was give a shout out to a company that both you and I know and love. I want to give a shout out to Encapstore. So, if you don't know, Encapstore is where I personally get all my products. They have a lot of great chemicals here. They specialize in encapsulation cleaning, and they also have a lot of really cool equipment. So, if you're interested in getting started in the industry, you're not sure where to get started, I wanted to throw a personal recommendation out for Encapstore. And Erik, you also use Encapstore for a lot of your products too, right?
Yes, we do. We certainly do.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, that being said, Erik, can you tell us a little bit about your company?
Yes, absolutely.
How long have you
We
guys been in business?
so that's I always tell people about 6 years, but when we first started back in May 2017, we were under a different franchise name. So and then previous to that, 3 years prior to that, I was a technician for that franchise in southeastern Idaho. So we're actually located in Boise, Idaho. Um, and I first started in the carpet cleaning industry after graduating college. I had somebody that I knew in college, and he invited me to come and work for him. After college, he was the CEO and founder of a carpet cleaning franchise known as Heaven's Best, and that started. He had founded that company back in 1984, if my memory serves me right, and then after I got out of college, I started working for him as a technician for 2 years. And then, the last year that I worked for them, they made me general manager. So I kind of ran the territory down in southeastern Idaho from Rexburg, I should say all the way up to West Yellowstone, all the way down to Pocatello, Idaho. So that was a pretty big region, but the population isn't as dense as it is here in Boise, Idaho. So a lot of less, just not as many people.
Yeah.
Um, my boss had passed away from colon cancer, and that was kind of unexpected. His son offered me the franchise in Boise, Idaho. They had a previous employee running it for them on salary, and he was bringing in less than what they were paying him. They shut him down for about 6 months, and then invited me to go up there and take it over. And so I did, and I came to find out it was pretty much starting a whole new business because there's hardly anything going on. There wasn't really any leads coming in. Um, the online presence wasn't that great. I mean, there was an existing website, there was a Google My Business, but not too many reviews. And because I had helped build that up in southeastern Idaho, I knew what I needed to do in order to get ahead of the competition because competition is very dense here. I mean, when I talk to my other local carpet cleaning colleagues, I do have competitors and I have colleagues. I try to reach out, and the ones I'm friendly with, they're colleagues, right? Even though we're technically competitors, but we're friendly with each other and help each other out. Um, we guess around 400 competitors here in the area. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. Is that all the way to chucking a truck?
400 competitors in the area.
Maybe. I mean, that's what the directory says, but that could be like
Wow.
hundreds that are just they've gone out of business and
Yeah.
nobody's, the yellow pages hasn't updated their listing or who knows. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't really worry about the other competition. What I've always focused on is getting an excellent reputation, and obviously the best way to do that these days is online reviews. Um,
Hmm.
my biggest competitor here is Zero Res, which is a national franchise, and I'm competing with over 3,000 reviews. But we're pretty happy and proud of the number of reviews that we have. We're second to Zero Res in terms of our online reputation and or the amount slash quality of reviews we have, and we have about 600 over 630 reviews, 5-star reviews.
I'll put that up here because I think that's just amazing. And maybe we can just kind of talk about that for a second. So if you see my screen here, we got over 600 reviews and I mean a stunning 5-star rating as well. So can you talk to us a little bit? I mean, the obvious answer is, provide great service, but
Right.
are there any kind of secrets or tricks to getting
Absolutely.
review number up?
Absolutely. People call and they just don't believe that perfect 5-star rating. Because, when you have that many reviews, like how do you have a perfect 5-star rating? And what we explain to people on the phone is, look, we're not perfect. We make mistakes just like everybody else. But when we make those mistakes, we make sure to make those right, and
Yeah,
until the client's happy with our service. We have a thorough guarantee that if you're not happy with the service, then we will refund your money. More often than not, we don't have to do that, obviously, because we want to make sure that we go and do it right.
yeah,
Our guarantee covers, hey, if you're not happy with the cleaning service, then we'll come back and we'll clean it again for free. If you're still not happy, then we'll refund your money or pay somebody else to come out and do it.
yeah.
So,
Do you focus only on Google for reviews? I mean, there's so many different platforms that you can get reviews on. Do you have one
yeah,
is this the one
I
that you
mean,
focus on?
yeah, I mean, we used to do Yelp, right? New cleaners like to, I guess they get drug into Yelp because they just don't know. But yeah, I haven't found Yelp to be all that great. If you're in California, maybe, but here, I mean, you got some Californians moving here to Boise, Idaho. So it really kind of depends on your area, where you're located in the states.
Yeah.
But generally, like here, not so much, other than the people that are moving from California. So that we don't pay for any advertising there. The problem with Yelp is people will write a review and Yelp may put it as unrecommended, so people don't even see that review. And I'm like, well, that's just not fair. Like you have
Yeah.
to, and they're hidden reviews, right? Unless you pay for their advertising, then
Yeah,
they
that's what I've heard.
show
They're
up.
almost like the mafia in that sense where they're,
There's a
they're
whole
like, "We
documentary on
control the traffic through here."
there is a whole documentary on that about how Yelp does that to businesses and guys have hacked Yelp. What I mean by hack is they've encouraged their clients to give them a 1-star review because 1-star reviews will show up recommended or not.
Yeah, I bet. And
They'll
yeah.
always show up. So people say, give us a 1-star review and we'll, they incentivize people to give them 1-star reviews because the 1 stars always show up. And it's really funny
Wow.
because it's a 1-star review, but it's a raving review that says great things about it
Oh, I
because
see, I
people
see,
always
I
go and read
see.
the bad review. So
That's
it's
messed up.
reversed.
It's messed up that they make you go through that to be able to get your reviews.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean, you got to beat the system if
I
the system's
know.
running against you, right? You just change the rules. So
I personally have never had much luck with Yelp, but I
yeah,
think that it's important. It's one of those platforms that I think it's important to have, your profile built out on, and maybe not invest so much time or energy or
sure.
in building it up. But what I was going to mention is if I look for your business in Idaho, what I'm seeing is you're everywhere, right? Like you're on every single platform. So you got you here, you got your website, which you have carpetcleaningboise.com. So it's a very strong SEO dominant domain. Like people type in carpet cleaning in Boise, you're going to be the first one that pops up. And you can see this isn't even a paid listing. This is like an organic listing. So that's the first one that comes up. And then you got your Facebook here. You got this is a podcast too. Oh,
Yep,
awesome! I didn't know you had a podcast. That's great.
yep,
Then you got your Yelp, and then you got your Nextdoor. It looks like you're in the Chamber of Commerce.
yep. I'm
You're
ambassador
also
for
on
the Chamber of Commerce.
MapQuest.
Yep,
Got your LinkedIn, and you got your podcast is showing up again. So it's really just being dominated from all these different places. You got your Instagram here. So it's really just being dominated from all these different angles. And if someone's trying to decide, what to purchase, well, it doesn't matter which platform they go to, they're going to be
right,
seeing your
right.
your guys' stuff, which is really awesome.
Yep. We try to be
And one thing I
very
was going to ask about is what is your strategy? Because I noticed one thing that when I was researching you a little bit, one thing that you're doing really well is like the social media game, right? Like you do have a podcast, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're on all the different social media. So, what's your philosophy on social media, and how do you think that's going to help you build your business in the long run?
Um, that's tough. So we do have a social media presence. We do not. I mean, I don't focus a whole lot of time on there because just the leads aren't always. I mean, it's a long game really with social media.
Yeah,
So I'm more of a direct response. Like as soon as I do any kind of advertising, I want an immediate result. And then sometimes with social media, you're hitting people outside your service area, right? I mean, it's
yeah,
more of a national. So it's a lot harder, I think, for service companies to succeed on social media because those social media platforms are designed to be widespread as opposed to focused on a certain demographic. Now they have made adjustments on that. My biggest problem, as much as I'd love to do more social media branding, is I'm just as a multi truck operator. You know, we've got 3 vans. I wear so many hats. I'm spread too thin. I almost need to hire somebody. You know, whose position is designated to just doing, video marketing, online marketing, social media, all of that. And I have talked to professionals in the area. I've networked with them in terms of doing that. It's just whether or not that's in the budget
yeah,
to afford something like that. I definitely have the experience and the um, I don't know what you want to call it, the skill set, I guess, to do it. I just, as far as finding time or planning time, that's a lot harder for me because as
yeah,
an
definitely.
entrepreneur, I'm constantly chasing squirrels everywhere. So it's
Yeah, I hear you.
prioritizing something like that, and there is powerful. It is very powerful if you prioritize that. I have a friend in the industry, Brandon Pluchek with Clean That Up, and like he started doing social media, TikTok, um, right before the pandemic,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's gone viral. I mean, he's been on national news. They have a carpet cleaning company which also offers janitorial services, but I mean, he's got huge credentials on that because people see him even more as an expert, and he's helping homeowners um, or anybody in general that's interested in cleaning how to do it yourself, how to clean those things up yourself.
yeah,
Um, and then for those who don't want to do it themselves, how to hire a professional to do it. So that there's a lot of power in that. And honestly, I wish I did more of it. It's just trying to find the right formula and the time for me because I could go. It's harder for me as well, like on social media right now. I know that you're starting out a little bit, Alistair. I mean, how long have you been at it?
I started doing podcasts just a few months ago.
Okay,
Yeah, I think I'm already up to like 10 or something like that, 10
okay.
podcasts.
But as far as
Yeah,
carpet cleaning, how long have you been doing carpet
oh,
cleaning?
I've been doing carpet cleaning just past 1 year. Just just
Okay.
just finished the first year. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so,
About
like, when
April
you're out there doing
2022.
primarily most of the work, like, that's easy for you to hold up the camera and take videos of it.
Totally,
Whereas
yeah.
me, I'm not on the van as much. I have technicians that are out there, and sometimes depending on the technician, how interested are they gonna be to take a video on their
Mhm,
camera, send it to the boss,
exactly.
and then the boss has gotta edit it. I've got before and after photos
Mhm.
that I can take, but generally, unless I'm the one out there in the field doing the work, I'm not getting as much
Yeah,
video content.
it is
So
tricky.
that's tough. I mean, that's where I can either hire somebody to go out there and shadow them and,
Yeah.
camera crew, right? Or I could be the camera crew and going out there and checking their work and making sure I'm taking videos or not. But sometimes that's kind of um an unseen or like a burden on the homeowner when you have like
Definitely,
two,
yeah.
two or
Some
three
people are like, "Hey, why are you
techs.
filming inside my home?"
Yeah.
You gotta be careful with that one.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you gotta be careful. Yep.
So I
So
wanted to show you a website because it's a really beautiful website, and I wanted to point a few things out. So the first thing I wanted to point out was this the branding, right? I mean, you have beautiful branding, everything matches. You got the trucks, you got the uniforms, you got the logo. So can you talk to me a little bit about the impact that the branding has had on building your business? And one other question, if you can do both.
Mhm.
And then, did you start out with all of this branding right away, or did you kind of work up to it?
So that's a great question. So, like I said, I came from a franchise, um, and we left that franchise just over 3 years ago, I believe. September of 2019, so 6 months before the pandemic. Um, and I learned the importance of branding uh, it during when I had the franchise. I As far as like having a solid brand, wearing uniforms, being clean cut, having wrapped fans and branded equipment. And I wanted to take that and move it into my own company when we switched. So when we were in the process of exiting our franchise, we reached out to Ryan Kettering with Prolific Prints, and I had known Ryan previously from industry events that I had gone to, and I'm looking at him and looking at his work. I'm like, that's who I have a relationship with, and B, that's who I want to do my brand because I like his work so much. I had looked at his
Yeah.
portfolio and everything was great. So we had reached out to him before leaving our franchise, and he kind of put it all together and um, basically had it ready for us when we switched,
So
where
you
we
had
had
from day
our
one.
yeah. So from day one, yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I will say though, in testament to Ryan's design, um, it's I get more comments now about being a franchise than I did when I was actually a franchise. So
What
it's
does that mean? That people think that you're a franchise, or what does that mean?
yeah, no, people look at us and they're like, "Are you a franchise?" They think like I've hired guys and they're like, "I thought you were a franchise," or our clients say, you look like a franchise."
And
And
what does that mean? Is that a compliment, or what do you think
it
they're
is
trying to say by that?
well, I take it as a compliment because that means you have a professional image. Like,
Right.
and I could take my company and franchise it or expand it nationwide. So they see you as a professional company, not just an owner operator. And nothing wrong with being an owner operator. In fact, owner operators will do a lot better than major franchises because they're much more they care more, I should say.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
much more focused. Now if they want to be profitable, then they're going to have to charge higher prices than a franchise would charge. Sometimes the owner operators come in, the guys starting out, and they're like, well, I need to beat Stanley Steamer or Zero Res's prices, and they come in at a lower price, and I'm like, no, 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 don't do that. Those franchises are making up because they're doing volume as opposed to quality, right? They're doing quantity over quality. As an owner operator, when you're starting out, you should be focused on quality. And obviously, that's how you build your reputation. Sometimes you do have to start at a lower price, but you should work on bringing that price up just
Yeah.
gradually and gradually up as your reputation improves. Um, so as far as let me circle back to your question there. I know you asked about we started with branding from the very beginning because we realized how important it was and how it differentiates you, sets you apart. If you have good branding, that people, our vans, for example, that just it draws people in. They see the color, they see the design. That's they comment. I may only have 3 vans around, but when people see that, they remember it, and so there'll be comments from people where I see your vans everywhere, which that's great. That's great for branding. That means you're giving uh, pers- um, the perspective or your illusion. Illusion might be kind of have a negative vibe to it, but it's the illusion that you're bigger than you really are, and that's a
Yeah.
good thing, right? Bigger companies try to appear smaller, and smaller companies want to appear bigger, and so
Mm.
there's a happy medium in there where people see you as a solid company that has a foundation that you're going to be around for a while, as opposed to chucking a truck that just started and he hasn't even made it past 5 years yet. You know, who knows if they're going to stick around, right? Because we look at the small business statistics of businesses that start and fail within the first 5 years. Um, it's scary, really,
Yeah.
to look at those numbers and wonder, am I going to make it or am I not? And your consumer thinks about that stuff too when they
Yeah.
see your stuff. So yeah,
So
branding was very important from the beginning.
I want to talk about some tactical tips and get into things that can help other carpet cleaners. Can you tell us, first of all, what is your most profitable service? You do a few different types of service, right?
Yes.
So
Um,
what are some of your most profitable services or service?
our most profitable service is carpet stretching. Um, we do the most carpet cleaning, obviously, but just because that's our name and that's part of the brand. But carpet stretching is our most profitable. And because it's in such a high demand right now, is just not being installed properly after the first year or two. It starts to ripple. People are like, why are there ripples in my carpet? Do I need to replace it? So it's less expensive for them um, to stretch it than to replace it. And so, I mean, I had two estimates this morning that I went on where, you know, through our advertising, we're doing stretching, and it's easier to advertise for stretching because there's less competition in the market, right?
Mm,
I said I had 400 competitors, maybe possibly in the area for carpet cleaners, right? 100 to 400. But as far as those who do carpet stretching, not
very,
nearly
very
as
true.
much, right? And so
Are
it's much
people
easier.
searching for carpet stretching? Like, do they type or do they search carpet repair? Or is that something like when you go into a home and you see that it's an issue? Or how do people find those? Because before I got into the service, I didn't know anything about carpet stretching or what that
Right.
was.
Absolutely.
How do customers find you when they need that service?
Both. So we have print advertising that we do, um, coupon mailers that go out for things like that. There's also yard signs. So other than our online SEO that we have focused heavily on, we have done yard signs. And there's always naysayers online that say, "Oh no, that won't work," or "This won't work," or "That won't work." It really kind of depends on how you're doing it, what you're doing, what's your message, and how much of it are you doing, right? If you only try a few signs here and there and they're not strategically placed or there's just not enough of them put out, then you're not going to have a lot of success. I've had competitors that have tried to do what I do and they say, well, it's just not working for me. And I'm like, I've been doing it for years and it's working for me. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like you, you obviously thought it would work, or you're seeing enough of my stuff around. But again, I have people telling me I see your yard signs everywhere, and I'm like, that's because they are everywhere.
So are you just putting them up on the corners and stuff, or are you giving a discount to customers, or what's your strategy behind yard
um,
sales?
well, right. I might have a competitor listing. I don't care. I don't care. At this point, I already have such a head start. It doesn't matter. No. And honestly, like the chances of them actually implementing it are slim to none. But we are putting them on like intersection corners in cities that we're allowed to. So you
Right.
got to check your local laws, right? I've got
Mhm.
cities that I'd love to put them in because I've got higher end clientele that would be there, but the city will call me and say, "Hey, that's not allowed," or people will just take it down.
Mhm.
I haven't been fined yet in the 4 or 5, maybe 6 years that I've been doing it. I haven't gotten a fine yet. So, and even if they did fine me, it's like I'm making so much money off of
Yeah,
this.
it's the cost of advertising.
Go ahead and fine me, you know. But we stick to the areas where we don't, make too many waves, and the cities that allow it. Whereas there's two that don't like it because some people are a little snobby there. Other areas we can get away with it, and it's just it's a numbers game, right? That's advertising. How many
Yeah.
are you putting out? Uh, are you putting out 20, or are you putting out 300? You know, you're going to get it. Now, you may put out 300, but only 100 stick. But at the same
Yeah.
time, you may put out 20, but only 5 stick. and how many people are actually seeing those 5, right? It's
Yeah.
just, it's all a numbers game. You never know what's going to work or what's not going to work until you go out and you just saturate the area, right?
Yeah.
So yard signs have been successful for us because of how we design our signs, because of where we put our signs, um, and how often we do it. But my carpet stretching signs are always more successful than my carpet cleaning
Really?
signs
That's
are.
interesting. And so
Because
I imagine there's probably some, those have to be a little more visual, right? Like here's
it's the
what the
service,
symptom is
it's
and
the demand. People do, again, and they don't know where to go for carpet stretching. Like,
yeah.
you got tons of carpet cleaners advertising carpet cleaning, but hardly anybody advertising carpet stretching. And people are like, I did, like you said, I didn't even know that was possible. And
Yeah.
people can't argue with a ripple in the middle of their room. They can argue with how dirty their carpet is.
Yeah.
Like, cleaning is a perception. Everybody's definition of clean is not the same. And so some people are like, right, you get those clients on the phone, yeah, it's not that dirty. And you show up and you're like,
It's not that
pretty
dirty.
dirty.
Hey, if a client
Pretty
tells me it's
dirty.
not that dirty, I know I'm
Yeah,
in for a treat.
that's right. And then the ones that say, "Oh, it's filthy," and you show up and you're like,
You're like, oh,
"Anything
okay,
here?"
I guess.
So it's
Yeah.
it's and it's funny that it works that way, but it does.
Yeah. So can we talk more about client acquisition? So what are some marketing tactics that's like the biggest thing. Everyone wants to know, especially the newbies, how do you find more carpet cleaning clients? So how do you find more carpet cleaning clients?
Advertising, advertising, and then when you find those people, you want to work on retaining those people. So there's a I have a friend um, in California. I don't know if he'll ever see this. Maybe if I send him the link. But he's been doing this for 25 years. He was at Encapstore, and I see him at industry events. And he's, reaching out to me, Erik. How do I do more advertising? What do I do? Do I need to do more social media advertising? And I'm like, well, how long? I mean, you've been doing this for 25 years, and your clients love you, right? Yeah. Are you advertising to your past clients? Nope. Well, that's the lowest hanging fruit, right? Because you already have people that know, like, and trust you. So you're going to spend less on advertising, and those people are willing to spend more with you because they have experience with you and you've given them a good experience. So not enough cleaners are already advertising to their current client database. Okay. So whether that's a newsletter, whether that's a postcard, whether that's a thank you card, reminder cards, every 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. Yeah, I mean, you name it. There's obvious rules to find, and there's lots of different. I mean, gurus is kind of a negative keyword in the industry, but there's gurus,
Specialists.
or there are professionals out there that can help you with those types of things, and I utilize their services as well. But advertising to your past client database, as far as acquiring new customers, word of mouth is very powerful. So building that reputation, right? It's easier for me to acquire new customers because I have a strong reputation. When I go in for an estimate, or when people call us on the phone and there's some price resistance on it, it's like, well, why did you call us? Well, because of your online reviews, because of your reputation. Okay. Well, do you believe that you get what you pay for? Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to cost more than somebody else, and we have a thorough guarantee to go with that. So you can save a few dollars and go with somebody else, but you may not be happy, and then you may end up calling us anyways. It's going to end up costing you more. So whether that's print marketing, right, direct response, sending out postcards. Now, I will say, just because you had an advertising campaign that didn't work does not mean that the medium or that type of advertising doesn't work. Personally, I don't do Facebook advertising, but I don't claim that it doesn't work. I have a harder time with it because my prices are higher. And so starting out, it may work very well for people. But my viewpoint on it is, I'm sure it works. I just haven't figured out the formula for it yet. And I haven't spent enough time working that formula out because I have too many other forms of advertising that are
Yeah.
giving me a better return on investment for.
Hmm.
Um, Yard signs cost me less. but make me so much more. That's been the best ROI for us, other than
Interesting.
SEO. So newsletters, postcards. We just finished a postcard campaign. That was We shouldn't have done it at the beginning of January. It's very unsuccessful, right? We sent out uh, postcards to 3,000 addresses. Um, some of them got sent back because the addresses weren't,
Yeah.
people, either somebody didn't live there or it wasn't a valid address, whatever. And then we sent it again a month later. Now, because of the card, I mean, I have an example of the card right here.
Nice.
The card looks great. It looks professional. It looks wonderful. It's got some offers on there. It wasn't successful. I spent way too much money with the company. They also had a campaign that was working with social media, advertising on Facebook, Instagram, all these other things. But the messaging was not right. It was not resonating, or it was not the right time. So timing is everything, and the right message is everything. The right offer. Some people will respond better to one offer than they will to another offer. You have to find out what's your secret sauce. Like, what is your unique selling point? What's your USP? What differentiates you from others? And what are you offering that will get them to respond, right? To act.
Did you say the second time also was not as successful, or you say that?
Oh, well, I mean, overall, let's say, so I spent nearly somewhere between $6,000 to $8,000 on this campaign,
Hmm.
and 6,000 mailers out, right? And that's also that also included all the online social media marketing, and this was all trackable too. There was a tracking number, there was a landing page for all of it. So I spent all this money, and for 6,000 cards to be sent out twice, like 3,000 addresses sent out twice, so 6,000 cards total. And I only get about 12 responses.
Oof.
Yeah, see,
That's
that's
rough.
not good. That means
Yeah.
something's wrong. And so
So,
when the company's like, "Well, you need to send out a third mailer," and I'm like, "I'm not even going
eef.
to break even if I send out a third mailer."
Yeah, it's impossible at that point to break
Yeah,
even. Yeah,
no.
you need to have like a 50% response rate at that
That's
point in order
right.
to break
That's
even.
right. And that's what I
Yeah.
told them. And so we just parted ways. And I'm like, okay, then I'm going to have to figure this out on my own. There's so many
Yeah.
companies. There are good companies and there are bad companies. And you have to, and it's going to cost you money to find out which one is
Yeah,
which, right? That's just
fortunately.
part of the game. Some advertising works, some doesn't. That doesn't mean that advertising doesn't work. And you can always improve your advertising. But some guys are just like, whatever, I'm just gonna get it naturally, organically. I'm like, look, you got to spend money in order to make money
Yeah.
if you want to grow and scale.
I had a similar experience with Postcards. So I use House Call Pro for a lot of my like operation stuff, and they have it built into there where you can, do a campaign, a one-time blast, or even an ongoing thing. Yeah, I think I sent out 500. Um, and I don't know if you need to put like current resident, because a lot of people we do a lot of move out cleaning,
Sure.
so a lot of people had moved. But yeah, I think I got like one or two jobs out of 500, and I'm like, that cost me like $400 or something like that. Like, I don't think this is gonna be a good try.
But let me
But some
ask
people
you,
do.
so you got how many responses again from that?
I think I got like two jobs.
Two jobs, okay.
Yeah.
Um, so you spent
It
how
might
much?
have been it might have been break even, like it
You
might have
might have
broken
broken
even.
even.
So at that point, it's
You
not
got to
that
look at
bad. I
the
think.
lifetime value of the client.
Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing. I think a lot of people, like you mentioned, they are doing carpet cleaning for 20 years, and then they're still trying to find new customers, but they don't have a way to reliably communicate with their existing list of customers, and that's a big gap in a lot of people's game, I think.
Yeah. So you can call them, you can
Yeah,
text them, you can send out voicemail bombs, you can
yeah,
send out postcards, you can send out newsletters. Like that's all gonna cost you. But at the same time, it's like it retaining clients costs you a lot less than acquiring new clients, right?
yeah,
You can
absolutely, absolutely.
client acquisition can be anywhere between 50 to 75, even more, depending on where your company is at. And
Hmm.
so spending a few bucks to retain the people you already have,
Yeah,
much. But like you said, I would say that your campaign wasn't a complete failure because you at least broke even.
just
If
about
you're
broke
breaking
even.
even,
Yeah,
and you keep tweaking it. Sometimes you got to send out more mailers than just the 500. Sometimes you
Hmm.
got to adjust the message or the offer on there. Like, I don't know what your offer was, and maybe that just doesn't respond well in your area. Some people
Yeah.
just may not care about that. Um,
Mhm.
you can also, the cheapest way, right, is referral marketing or relationship marketing, where you're going out in the community and building relationships. So like with me, I'm in the Chamber of Commerce. I'm an ambassador, so I get to go out and meet new businesses. I go to ribbon cuttings. I got a ribbon cutting today. um, you get to be a presence in the community, and in Boise, Idaho, we're very community driven, right? If you're not involved in the community, they may not pay as much attention to you. You find higher end clients that way because you are showing that you care and that you're involved in the community. You also give your clients, uh, if you give your clients business cards after you finish, you can have an offer on the back and say, hey, if you refer somebody, um, I'll give them a 100% risk free room of carpet cleaning. And
Yeah. Awesome.
that's just to try us off. That's risk free. Like, it doesn't cost you anything. It's the law of reciprocation. You give them something, they'll want to give you something back. Carpet cleaners are afraid if I give them a free room or free carpet cleaning, I, I'm going to lose money. But if you give them something for free, as long as they're the homeowner, right? Sometimes renters,
Yeah.
they may not. There are you got to be careful with who you give that to. So if you're giving that to people that you already clean for, who know you, know the quality of work you have, and they're going to refer their neighbors or their family, then you're okay. If you're handing that out like candy to everybody, I might stay away from something like that. But if you give
Yeah.
them a free room, chances are people are like, well, I've got this room or that room. Can you do this? And then you can upsell, upholstery clean, whatever other services that you provide, and you make your money back. Or the next time they use you, that's when you start making money. So you may break
Yeah.
even the first time, but the next time, that's where you make your money. That's sometimes the name of marketing. So if you're
Yeah.
getting a one to two or 1 to 3 return rate, right? You return on your investment. That's typical. That's what I read this morning. That's actually pretty good. Whereas guys are hoping they get more than that. It's
Yeah.
not always the case.
So speaking of what you just read, I'm curious about who you follow and who you learn from. Are there some business, personalities and people that you follow and try
Yes,
to acquire
yes,
knowledge from? Who are
yes.
some of
So
your favorites?
so I was reading that in and I've had this book. There's a couple of books he has. I'll show you the 2 books. But John Braun with Hitman Advertising. So this book is killer advertising for cleaning
Oh
businesses. You
wow,
can get that
cool.
on Amazon for $20. And then he has a newer book. It's probably a little bit more simple than killer advertising, but it's 6-figure carpet cleaning. Start and run a
Yeah, I've
6
seen that one. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
So those you can find on Amazon. And then if you decide to use his services, he has some templates for marketing. But even he said in what I read this morning, he's like, you cannot use my advertising and expect it to work in your area. You have to make adjustments. You can't
Yeah.
just plug and play. Some people, because you look at his stuff, and I just put my name, slap my name on it, slap my logo on there, use the same offers as him, and I'll have just as much success. No, it doesn't
Yeah.
work that way. Some of those offers just don't work in your area because it just doesn't interest people. You got to find out what works. See
Yeah.
what other people are doing and what's successful. Give it a try. Um, when's a good What's a good amount of time to try something? I don't know, 90 days, 3 months,
Yeah.
and depending on your sample size, like how many people did you try that with?
Hmm.
So John Braun is one I follow. um You at Encapalooza, you saw or you met Katie Harris with Spot On Solutions.
Yeah.
I've known them for years, and we're actually looking at meeting again next week. They don't do my website currently, but we're looking at and having them do some services for us, if that fits within, if that works for both of us, works well for both of us.
Yeah, definitely.
Um, Let me think, who else? Um,
Anything on social media or any kind of people that you follow, you're like, oh, I find particularly insightful?
in the carpet cleaning industry or just in
Just
general?
business in general, entrepreneurship.
Yeah, so Gary Vaynerchuk, if you can stomach his stuff.
Sure, sure.
Uh,
It's hard
he's
not to find, not hard not to run into Gary stuff.
yeah, Gary's good. I mean, I collect a lot of books. If I turn my camera here, you can see the bookshelves in my office of all these different books that I have. Howard Partridge is one that's in the carpet cleaning industry. And
Okay,
I'm in his coaching program. So I have a coach that I meet with every week, in a pod, which has other cleaners in it from different parts of the country. And then I meet one to one with my coach every month. So having a
what's
coach
the name of that program?
Howard Partridge's Inner Circle. So
Okay, interesting.
and he has a couple books that he's written as well. If I can find, I've recommended a few of those, but if you look up Howard Partridge on Amazon, it'll um,
Okay,
show a list of his books that he's read or written. A stack of books are over there, but like FTI, or Failure to Implement, is one. Um, what's the other one? Five Secrets to Running a Phenomenal Business. There's all sorts of ones, and his coaching program is built around taking service businesses and scaling them or growing them, um, making them more turnkey and profitable. Um, I don't know what your game plan is, Alistair. I'm sure you kind of want to grow and scale your business. You don't want to be cleaning carpets when you're 50, and
no.
maybe not. I don't know. Like your profile picture on Facebook, I'm like, oh, is this guy like 50 years old?
I did change it. Now I changed it. I'm back to being I'm in my mid 30s now, so I
Okay, all right.
changed it. I'm a shapeshifter.
Yeah, so I mean, me, I don't want to be cleaning carpets until I'm 50 years old. There's so many owner operators out there that they get tired of the grind, and it just takes a
Yeah,
toll on them
definitely.
physically, and they just can't do the work anymore, right? They wake up and
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore. I'm too tired. I'm too exhausted, and it's because they didn't take the necessary steps. Or another book I would recommend, and I talked a little bit about it at Encapstore, was The E-Myth,
Mm,
by Michael Gerber. That the E-Myth, like, I don't care what kind of an entrepreneur you are, that will absolutely like change your whole mindset of being a technician, manager, and entrepreneur. Like the things you need in order to grow a successful business, and why other businesses fail because of the mindsets that they have. So the
mhm.
E-Myth is definitely one on the top list of books that entrepreneurs should read, especially carpet cleaners. Um, because, well, any business really, but most carpet cleaners are just like, it'll all come to me naturally. It'll grow over time, and it's kind of a slow growth. There are a few that the I think what I tell guys is you should take a leaf out of Stanley Steamer or Zero Res's book, and they just happen to be marketing companies that clean carpet. They're businesses, they're not carpet cleaners, right?
Mhm.
So most, like I said earlier, to you, I don't know if maybe before we started recording this, you should go in with the mindset of being the owner of the business and not the technician of the business. And in the
Right.
e-myth, it explains, like, I previously cleaned for somebody else. I was a technician. And then I'm like, I don't want to work for you guys anymore. I'll run my own business. But I still had the technician mindset. And I'm still trying to get out of the technician mindset because I like to tinker with the machines. I like to work with the chemistry, with with whatever, in the carpet cleaning entails. And so I go to Encapstore and I teach other guys about the chemistry and the machines. And I'm like, I'm stuck in this technician mindset. So what I should be focusing on is systems to grow and scale my business, to
Mhm.
automate things that it will run with or without me if I choose, right? When I'm 50 years old and I wake up and I say, I don't want to do this anymore, then my business will continue to operate. It will be turnkey. Somebody can buy it if I want to sell it, or it can continue making money for me if I decide I don't want to do this anymore.
Mhm.
I have right now, I have two technicians. We've had up to 3 to 4 technicians at a time. Well, they'll go out and do the carpet cleaning. I focus more primarily on going out and doing estimates. Um, like I said earlier, for carpet stretching or carpet cleaning, and then the technicians will go out and do the work. So that's where you start to grow and scale and have more time to do the things that you really want to do. Your business is a vehicle, as this is what Howard Partridge teaches. Your business is a vehicle designed to help you accomplish your dreams. Um, I never dreamed of cleaning carpets the rest of my life. And I don't know about you, right? I think you said you came from like the corporate world. You worked for
Mhm.
the man, and you're
I
like,
work for the man. Yeah.
I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
again, you were the technician, and now you're kind of you got to find your
Sure.
footing and say, how do I move from the technician to the manager to the entrepreneur? And I'm not saying that it's easy. It's hard.
Yeah.
It is hard, but it's possible. Plenty of guys do it. You got to look at other
Absolutely.
big industry names, big service industry names. So Tommy Mello is somebody else that I follow, not
Yeah.
even involved in carpet cleaning. Um, but these are people that have grown and scaled service companies, and you can take the secrets that they have, or things that they've done, and you can implement it in your own business. Doesn't have to be industry
Absolutely.
specific. The rules don't apply to a certain industry or
Yeah.
certain category.
So, as we kind of close here, can you think of some tips or pointers for people just starting out in the carpet cleaning industry, talking like less than like within their first year? How do they make it out of that first year and make it and not become a statistic of a business that didn't make it out of that first year? What are some tips and pointers to maximize profit, to be able to grow, to get started?
Um, Read. Like, just so what I was talking about earlier is find those books, plenty of booklet, whether you read books or listen to books on audio, or like audio. I have an Audible account, so I get, credits every month. Um, and I still struggle with it. I collect books more than I actually read the books, but I know I should read them.
Yeah.
There are other ways. There are apps now where you can actually um, get a synopsis. It's almost like the cliff notes of the book, right? My problem with business books is I'm like, get to the point already. Like, I'm so tired of reading all this filler,
Yeah.
right? It's like, well, give me the meat. Tell me the rules. And so I have an app like it's called Headway. Um, and that will give you like a 10-minute synopsis. You can listen to it or you can read it. Now, sometimes when I listen to read it, those I'm like, well, that wasn't enough. Like, there's got to be more to it than that. And that's where you go and you actually buy the book if you find it interesting.
Right.
So there are ways to kind of read the summaries of the book, or get to the secrets faster. And if you want to read more, you obviously can buy the books. But do read. Find a mentor, somebody who is willing to help you and learn from their mistakes as opposed to learning from your own mistakes. I like to help other guys out that reach out to me, and they'll ask. A lot of times they just want my mentoring for for equipment or for chemical or pads or whatever. And I'm like, okay, sure, yeah, I'll tell you that. But other guys, like you, Alistair, what you're off to a good start because you're focused more on marketing. But I think that's because you came from a marketing background, right? See,
Yeah.
That's your competitive advantage, is you're a marketer that's learning how to clean carpets. And so you're off to a good start with that. The new guys, you got to learn marketing, and you never mastered marketing. You could study it your whole life, you never quite master it. What I mean, you'll be considered an expert or master, but it doesn't mean that one thing will work in 100% of the time, right?
Mhm.
Um, Following guys like Dan Kennedy, or Russell Brunson, guys like this in the industry that know direct response marketing that works. Um, there will be carpet cleaners online that will say, "Oh, this will work or that'll work," and again, it may not work in your area. Those offers may not work. Um, Definitely, like, find out what it takes to be profitable. To be, you should be job costing every job that you're on. This is something that my coach throws at me, like, Eric, your guys need to be filling out a production form where how much chemical did they use? How many square feet did they clean? How much time did it take them? And then you calculate the drive time and how long they were on the job and all the expenses, or the costs of doing business, so that this job cost me this much. This is how much profit I made on this job. And then you can make adjustments to make it more profitable. Um,
Yeah.
you should be optimizing your profitability most of the time, like especially in low moisture carpet cleaning, like super profitable. But that doesn't mean that you can't optimize that and make it even more profitable, right? As you get more skilled and you build more systems, you get more proficient and profitable that way. So, but you need to be focused on that, because if you're not focused on it, then you may go out and you don't know how much money you're spending on chemical, you don't know how much money you're spending on equipment. For carpet cleaners, my advice really is spend more time learning marketing than you spend online looking at new tools and equipment. Right? They think, well, this piece of equipment or this chemical or this pad is going to be the secret sauce, and I'm just going to make so much money when I have this tool. And then you'll buy it and it'll end up collecting dust. And I tell guys, like, I had a guy this morning from Encapstore reaching out to me. He's like, uh, which pads do you like the most? These are the pads that I like to use. And I'm like, all those pads work. They work. You just got to pick your preference. I like these pads. You may like something else, and it depends on what piece of equipment you're using. They work. Find something that works, and then find what really you need to find is what marketing works for you, not
Yeah.
necessarily. It's easy to find out or figure out the technical side of carpet cleaning. Super easy. The hard part in running a successful business is finding out what marketing works for you and being consistent with that marketing. And I'll even say for myself, I struggle immensely with that. The reason my business has not grown and scaled at the level that I want it to is because I'm not consistent with my marketing. Um, I need to be more consistent and try new things. Just because I've been doing, a couple things that have worked for me in the last couple of years doesn't mean that I can't try something else and pull another lever that's all of a sudden going to work more for me. Something that I'm looking into that I'm hesitant on because other cleaners are like, no, I don't, that doesn't always work. But radio advertising, because I look at Zero Res and they're doing radio advertising. If it didn't
I
work,
just tried that recently too.
you
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 gotta
know
experiment, right? That's the
you
biggest
got
thing. I heard that in order to be a good marketer, you need to be a good experimenter
you
because
got to
that's really
experiment.
what you're doing.
And there are rules of where what radio advertising for carpet cleaners will work better than others. Basically, you want to get endorsed testimonials, right? The on air talent, go do work
Yep.
for them, or get your clients to either record a testimonial or give you permission to have an on-air talent record it and read it for them, right? Well, you're talking about your reviews, your clients are talking about you as opposed to you talking about you. So for you, Alistair, I mean, you're doing a lot of videos. You could be posting TikToks of your clients giving you like a 30 to 60-second testimonial. And that would be huge as opposed to telling people how great you are. It's much more powerful when somebody else tells you how great you are or tells
Absolutely.
others how great you are, right? That's the referral. Much more powerful of that. So if you did that with radio, that's what works. Zero Res
Yeah.
typically does the on-air endorsements for something like that. Or for me, I'm going to advertise a service that's not so saturated. So I would advertise carpet stretching on the radio because not enough people even know that that's possible. And for everywhere that I've done carpet cleaning advertising and alongside carpet stretching, the carpet stretching is performing better and it's more profitable for me. You
Yeah.
know, if I'm charging $1 a square foot for carpet stretching and I'm only using tools, like I'm not using any chemicals. I'm not using any water. It's just costing me labor and tools. And if the tools are already paid for, then it's nothing but money. It's nothing but
Yep.
profit there. And then I can upsell carpet cleaning after I go in and do the stretch. So find a unique selling point. Do something that nobody else is doing and see if that will work. And if it works, then you just gotta mass produce
With
it.
you.
You got
Yeah.
to throw it out there and mass produce it.
Cool. Well, thank you very much. Erik, this has been awesome. I really appreciate all the insight and all the information here. Carpetcleaningboise.com, safe and soft carpet cleaning. Any final words from you? Anything else you want to add?
No, I honestly, I wish I got to interview you more because you came from the marketing industry, and I'm like, well, I want to know what his secrets are.
Well, maybe I can come on your podcast and we can chat.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. And I'll talk to you guys on the next one.
All right, thanks.